Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam and today we're on the CFMoto Ibex 800T. We're back on the Motoz Adventure tires. And if y'all remember in the last video when I first took these out, I might have had a little tumble on them. And that was my fault for, too much front brake, not using enough rear brake, and just, being a little bit out of my element. And I finally have gotten back out here in South Georgia to get into the woods and the gravel roads and everything, and to get back at it. And I can tell you guys one thing: I am more scared at going 30 miles an hour down a gravel road than I am doing 130 on the sport bike on the interstate. Like, this is just so out of my element, but I've been going down a dirt road before I started recording because, to be honest with you guys, I wanted to get, I don't know how you want to word it, like I just wanted to get into the groove and get a little bit comfortable before I started filming. And it's one thing that I figured out, maintain pace through this stuff. And then also standing up has made it a little bit easier too, because I was going down the gravel, freshly laid, sitting down, and it was just kind of throwing me all over the place, like my arms and everything, And then I said, well, let me just stand up. And it became a little bit easier to go through the gravel. So when I see you guys, on YouTube watching other people go up and down these types of trails and adventures and everything, and hitting the gravel road and crossing the creeks and everything, like, I totally have a newfound respect for the adventure riders that are out doing it, because it's crazy. I didn't grow up on dirt bikes or anything, so this is all new to me. And I'm still new to motorcycling because I've only been riding since August of 2022, so I've just kind of dabbled everywhere and anywhere with this stuff, from the sport touring bikes to the big heavy baggers to now getting the gravel tires on the Ibex and actually getting off the paved road and into it. And like I've said before, I've always enjoyed bringing my Jeeps down here. I haven't took my Bronco off-road yet, and I've had that thing since 23. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Beasley Knob. Me and some friends went up Beasley Knob in our Jeeps, and a buddy ended up breaking a couple ribs. We broke a front axle. I've been tie rod, so it was one heck of a day for us, and it was a good one. We still laugh about it to this day, but I think that kind of, like, after we got up there, that kind of satisfied the 4x4 off-roading, hardcore trails and stuff, and I like this stuff, but I'm trying to just get the experience under my belt for riding on this type of stuff, and to get the confidence too, because you gotta trust in the bike, you gotta trust in yourself, and the only way to build up that trust is to get out there and do it. I've seen a lot of people doodle and whatnot. They go and take the classes, and I think that's awesome, that's available to them and is in there. Well, hell, Doodle lives in North Georgia, if I remember right, so she's traveling and has the time to go and take all these classes, because there's not really a lot of stuff like that, surprisingly, in Atlanta. Atlanta's all about the fast boys, but if you have classes to go out and get understanding and fundamentals and practice doing the stuff, it's only advantageous to you. And then if you don't, just put yourself in the element and just try to control your risk and push yourself a little bit harder each and every time, and that's what I'm doing today. I've gone down one road. I wish I'd have looked up the stats so I could tell y'all. I'm tracking on my Garmin, so maybe I can go back and plug in the numbers. But anyway, I think I've already done like 10 miles down a dirt road, and this is the second road that I'm going down this morning. And you know, it's just like anything. Like I already said, you know, if you want to do it and do it well, you got to practice it. Whether it's controlling your bagger at slow speeds, leaning your sport bike, you know, in the turns. I mean, whatever it is you're wanting to do. And I mean, not just with motorcycles. That's with anything in your life, right? Seen a lot of hunters out this morning. I probably ought to plan this stuff to where I'm not putting myself at the risk of getting shot, because I bet you these guys don't like this damn twin parallel coming through here just thumping. But I'm sorry guys, the weather's nice, you know, I want to get out and ride, and it's just the perfect time to do it. I feel like going down that one road really kind of got knocked the cobwebs off me, or you know, got me loosened up a little bit to where I'm not so rigid, because you know, like I said, I ain't lying to y'all. I'm all about this is what I really feel, and I don't want to overhype anything, you know, just raw, real emotion and feelings with while I'm riding. And that first road I went down, I was extremely rigid and uncomfortable. But this one here hasn't been as bad going into it. You know, stopped for a minute, pulled over, set up the camera, got some water to drink, kind of relaxed. The tires are doing great. You know, I mean, I obviously don't have any other tire experience to speak of or to compare it to, but you know, the tires is not the shortcoming on the gravel roads for me. It's my personal experience that is the shortcoming for me out here. That was a big old flat rock, not gonna lie, that kind of scared me, because them flat rocks, you know, those will be slick, I imagine, you know, be hitting like a concrete floor in a warehouse. I'm sure all my forklift operators, past, present, or currently, know exactly what I'm talking about with that. It's been a long time since I've been down this gravel road. This is Juliet Road. So this should spit me out right near the Piedmont Wildlife Refuge. You know, this is where all I was wanting to go on the first video, but you know, the little tumble-wumble had me change my mind. But that's why we're back out here doing it now, right? And it's such a good time of the year to be out anywhere near the forest and the woods and stuff, with all the trees, you know, the fall colors coming in and everything. Well, this is a first. Sometimes you'll see guys with bicycles out here too, riding their, you know, I don't even know what type of bikes they are when I see them out here, because you know, I remember when all the cyclists and the spandex homies had all the narrow tires. on their bikes, and now the fat tires are really becoming a thing, and you're seeing those more and more on bicycles, you know, too. I mean, if any of y'all are cyclists and ride your bikes out here, put down in the comments below what type of bikes they are and the difference between those and like the old skinny tires and stuff that used to come on the mountain bikes, you know, because I'm not into that, so I don't know nothing about it, but I do know I'm seeing more and more like beach tires is what I think they call them, like on the electric bikes. I wouldn't mind an electric bike, but I don't think I would want it for this type of stuff. And there was no damage on the bike from the little drop, because I mean, you guys know I wasn't going fast. I mean, that was hell. I was basically just like standing there and dropped it. It's about the equivalent of what that honestly was. We got over 3,000 miles on the Ibex now with no issues, so you know, it's not as a lot as some of y'all out there. Some of y'all got a lot of miles on y'all's, but you know, mine's been holding up good. It looks like I'm gonna have to get in the habit of checking the tire pressure before I take this out too, because the low tire, you know, the TPM sensor is going off saying both tires need air in it. But when I do the patented dad squeeze, yeah, that's got enough air, you know, I think it feels good. And then I hop on here and then the lights come on and it's like, yeah, I guess I need to just go ahead and start actually putting, you know, my checker on it and actually checking them to see what the PSI is. So I don't know if the bike's sitting and me not riding it, you know, day in and day out, is letting the air come out the tires, or if it's, you know, I don't think it's a bead problem. I think it's just a sitting in the garage problem, to be honest. But the last time I went out, you know, I put the air in the tires to these tire specs, not the OEM tires, of course, because you know they're different types of tires. So you got to be mindful of that, and that might be something, you know, you deal with. I don't know if I can go to the dealership and change the PSI setting to these tires instead of the OEM tires. I may have to look into that. You know, I know you could do that, get the little hacks for the trucks and the Jeeps and stuff to make it not come on, you know, unless you're below like 10 PSI or something, if you're always airing down to go wheeling. I'm just glad I ain't came up on anybody out horseback riding, because there is the previous gravel road I was on, there's a campground where, you know, you can bring your horses and then take your horses out on the trail, which is pretty cool. And before, I have come down here before in my Jeep and, you know, run into them, people out riding and enjoying their horses, but hadn't seen any this morning. And my goal is to get comfortable enough on this and maybe go out to Chicula Forest in Alabama and go up, I think is it 500 and 501 if I remember right, but I don't want to make that trip, you know, unless my confidence is really good, if I feel really good, you know. So I just want to keep taking advantage of the closest gravel roads to me to get the experience under my belt. Because this is definitely something where I don't want to, that's pretty cool. This is something where I don't want to get that false sense of overconfidence and get to going too fast and then, you know, whop, whop, pow, and fall and break an arm, or you know, just whatever, since I'm out here alone, you know. So I just got to be real careful. I hope the camera's picking that up. That's awesome. And then you got that house right there, and then this is your view. Like, as long as it's not flooding, I guess it's pretty cool, huh? But alright guys, I appreciate y'all joining in on this ride for me down Juliet Road. If y'all like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. Go back into the library and watch the first review of the tires I did. And y'all tune in for the next one, alright? Again, appreciate it. Y'all stay safe, ride safe, and be blessed. We'll see y'all on the next one. Look at all that. Alright guys, y'all be cool.